as far as this occupation, which the State of Palestine says is illegal, is concerned. Who is exploiting the situation? How is it that the calls by the leadership, of course spearheaded by His Excellency Mahmoud Abbas of the State of Palestine, not being heard? What exactly is Israel doing to shift grounds in order to have some sort of compromise? As a matter of fact, if you follow the last United General Assembly, where each world leader delivered their speech, you realize that Mahmoud Abbas had also again made the same calls he had made for decades about how that the State of Palestine should be given absolute freedom. Their land should be left for them so there can be peace in that region, but that has not been the situation. As of this morning, over 1,000 lives have been lost on account of this tension that got escalated again on Saturday. The United States has responded, talking about President Joe Biden. France has also responded. We've seen the international community responding individually, including Iran, for instance. However, what is the role, ideally, of the United Nations in all of this? Is there any hope in that regard that the UN will at some point be able to proffer a lasting solution to this problem in the Middle East? We'll find out in a bit, but in the meantime, I'm joined by the ambassador of the State of Palestine to Nigeria, His Excellency Abdallahi Abu Shawesh. Is here to help us shed light on this issue as far as this new conflict is concerned. However, the history to it, and who knows, maybe the possibility of finding peace and the specific sacrifices that must be made to find peace. Because they say until there is peace in the Middle East, particularly between the State of Palestine and Israel, there's a pretty good chance there won't be peace anywhere in the world. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you so much for taking me this up.
Great. I know this is a bit emotional for you, especially because you are a frontline stakeholder in all of this. But we would like to know exactly what it is that has not been done. Because the world has thought, even though there is no peace yet, so to speak, between the State of Palestine and Israel, but there won't be this level of bombardment, this level of casualties that we have seen. Over 1,000 lives lost, people kidnapped, destruction on both sides, and there is no no end in sight just yet. You want to give us a bit of historical background to this?
Well, thank you so much. Of course, you shed light about to some extent about the historical issue or the historical background. But let me take you back another 109 or 106 years ago, when the United Kingdom issued the notorious declaration, which called the Balfour Declaration. In this declaration, the United Kingdom, whom is not owning the State of Palestine or the land of the Palestinian people, gave it and promised the Jewish to give this land to them. This is the starting point of this historical issue. Then the United Kingdom was facilitate and give all the facility to the Jewish to be immigrated from Europe to the land of Palestine, to the historical land of Palestine, till we reach 1948, when the Israeli gangs, the Jewish gangs, was started a massive war against the Palestinian people at that time, to declare, of course, the establishment of the State of Israel. At that point, 950,000 Palestinians, which means the majority of Palestinians. We are not that much when it came to the
population
at
that time.
So at that time, yes, the majority of Palestinian people, 950,000 Palestinians, was completely expelled, completely ethnically cleansed from their homeland, Palestine. 531 villages and town was completely whipped out from the ground, and we became a refugee people, a part of us in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, and of course part of us in West Bank and Gaza. The issue was continue like it is, and till Israel occupied the remaining part, which is 22% of the historical land of Palestine in 1967. And since that time, we start as a Palestinian, of course, our revolution. But before that time, we start our revolution led by the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, of course, to free ourselves. Since 56 years till now, the Israeli occupation is running. Since 75 years, the Nakba itself, which we call the war against the Palestinians, or the ethnic cleansing that happened to the Palestinians at 1948, we call it a Nakba. Since that time, the issue is deterioration. Then, 30 years ago, Yasser Arafat decided to put an end to this issue and decided it's time we gonna go to sacrifice and to accept to build our state of Palestine in only 22% of the historical land of Palestine. 30 years and we signed the Oslo Accord. Since that time till today, we could not reach the peace with the Israeli side because the Israeli is not serious under any circumstance. They were not serious and not serious in making the peace. Let me just take you just 2 weeks ago, because you already shed light on the President Abbas' speech in the General Assembly. President Abbas, long time ago, used to alert the international community and to give them a lot of alarms. This situation cannot be continued. The demolition of the Palestinian people homes, the confiscation of our land, the killing of our people in a daily base. The Israeli is used to kill us. The expansion of the Israeli settlement, the incitement, the hate speech that is delivered every single second in Israel against the Palestinians. They cannot continue like this. The Palestinian people is still alive people, and we need the international community to intervene. It's time to put an end to the Israeli occupation. But again, no one wants to listen to President Abbas. 2 weeks ago only, or 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when Prime Minister the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented a map for Israel, including West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. Come on. Could you imagine that he did not believe that we are existing? There is nothing according to their beliefs. The current Israeli government believes there is nothing called the Palestinian people. We are a few people that we should accept to live as a slavery under the Israeli occupation. And since that time, with this type of beliefs, the Palestinian people will come the day to wake up and to say, yes, we are here, we are an alive people. Only the issue, and all of the international media woke up just last Saturday. But what about just last Friday? Last Friday, 7 Palestinians was killed. 10 days ago, the Israeli extremist people in the old city in Jerusalem was spitting and slapping the Christian people. It was taped. This is taped issue. Why no one was woke up since that time? Why no one woke up since the beginning of this year till now? Approximately 250 Palestinians was killed. Some of them taped while the Israeli soldier executing him in the street with 3 bullets. Where is the international community? Why you are just woke up because there is the issue was escalated last Saturday. There is many things to talk about it. There is a big history behind it.
I want to talk to you about those many things, but there's a video I want to play quickly. This was Mahmoud Abbas at the last UNGA, where he was talking again, like he has done over the years, about the need to quote-unquote free Palestinians, relinquish their lands and so on and so forth. So we need to see that video real quick.
Once again, I come to you carrying the cause of my people who are struggling for freedom and independence, to remind you of the tragedy caused by the Nakba 75 years ago. The effects of this Nakba continue and are exacerbated by the Israeli occupation of our land. This occupation challenges your resolutions. Over 1,000 resolutions, in fact. This occupation violates the principles of international law and international legitimacy, while it races against time to change the historical, geographical, and demographic reality on the ground aimed at perpetuating the occupation and entrenching apartheid. Despite this painful reality, and 30 years after the Oslo Accords, which Israel has totally discarded, we still maintain hope that your esteemed organization will be able to implement its resolutions demanding an end to the Israeli occupation of our territory and realizing the independence of the fully sovereign State of Palestine with East Jerusalem as its capital on the borders of the 4 June 1967.
That was the president of the State of Palestine there talking. So I was asking you about the countries that are split. Some taking sides with the Israelis, others taking sides with the Palestinians. Do you see, I mean, you have been an insider, like I said, you are a frontline stakeholder. Do you see any possibility that the international community, whether from the West, the Middle East, even in Asia, for example, can rally around not just Israel, not just the State of Palestine, but rally around peace for these two neighbors?
Again, three major points here I would like to shed light on it. First and foremost, of course, to the on the President Abbas speech in the United Nations General Assembly. I think everyone listened to President Abbas, to every single word he mentioned. He aligned himself with the international law and the historical UN resolution, so that this is the speech that we want everyone to abide by. This is the speech that can take us a step forward to the peace. Second, because wording have a meaning, you already mentioned that the crisis and the conflict. This is not a crisis, this is not conflict, this is pure Israeli occupation. We should be cluster clear when we using our word, because to some extent, the Western media, for example, would like to use this is the conflict. No, this is not a conflict, this is a pure Israeli occupation. This is cluster clear, condemned by everyone, even the United States of America. The third point that I would like to shed light, and to back to your question, some countries is aligning themselves with us, but the Western country all the Western country was aligned themselves with Israel, and saying one very important but not complete sentence when they say Israel have the right to defend itself. Not Israel, Nigeria have the right to defend itself.
Right.
Niger, every single country in the world have the right. Nigeria, Senegal, any to the namelet, to name anyone, have the right to defend itself. But the Palestinian also, this cannot be completed until we say also the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves, have the right to liberate themselves, have the legitimate right to free themselves. Is it right or not? This is a legitimate issue. Again, how did the world is split? I can assure you that the Western country, on top of that, the United States of America, with it is unlimited and unconditional support, whether it is military, political, on all levels, to the Israeli occupation. This gives the Israel the upper hand to do what it would like to do towards the Palestinian, the Syrian, Lebanese, and the area. But again, there is many people is aligning themselves with us. Not only the Iranian. Why everyone would like to shed light only in Iran? In Nigeria today, do you know how many, at least, do you know how many demonstrations to support the Palestinian people? In Nigeria, there's many demonstrations, tens of demonstrations, so to speak. This is what my friends used to call me and to send me pictures. There's many demonstrations in Nigeria to support the Palestinian people all over the world. there is a lot of support for the Palestinian, because this is a pure human issue. This is a pure a legal issue. This is the principle of our life as a human being, to be free. We cannot accept, and we will not accept, to be a slave to the Israeli. We cannot accept what they believe of it, the Jewish supremacy. This is in their mind, but in the reality we could not, and we will not accepted it. This is the point. But yes, there is a lot of countries supporting us. Sometimes it's not easy to declare their support loud and clear. But yes, we have a very good support. Let me just give you a very important example. When it came to the self-determination resolution in the United Nations General Assembly, we had the majority, more than 150 or more 155, sometimes 160 countries was supporting us on the self-determination issue, so that we had the majority. This is support for the Palestinian people.
As it stands today, we understand for the third day, sirens are still blaring, especially around Israel and some part of Palestine. Just to say that there is a possibility of more attacks. How do we stop this as quickly as possible?
You mentioned another very important. Siren is still running in Israel, but in Palestine we did not have any single siren.
What does that mean?
Yeah, this means that we are unsheltered. This means that we cannot protect ourselves. At least in Israel, when there is a rocket fire towards Israel, there is a shelters to be hidden in it. But the Palestinian, before I came to you, till today, there is many families, and you might know that the Palestinian and the Arabic families live together. So that an extended family, a wide family, you might find in one building 50, 60, 70 person. Part of these, for example, Shamallah family, Za'anin family, Shabat family, and I could not remember the remaining names, but part of them, 20, 30, and 25, 17 person was completely wiped out, was completely killed. So that when it came to the Syrian, yes, the Israeli have the ability to have Syrians and shelters, but the Palestinian in Gaza, unfortunately, we did not have a shelters. Even the displaced person, which the toll reached approximately 75,000 Palestinians was internally displaced in Gaza. Part of them went to the UNRWA United Nations schools. Part of them was attacked even in the schools.
It's interesting.
So this is the difference between Syrians and the people who have a Syrians and the people whom did not have the Syrians.
We're going to Ambassador Shawesh. There's a little more we need to talk about, but that will be right after this short break. Do stay with us, everyone.
We talk about the Civil War, but we seem to ignore the fact that it was the manipulation of ethno-religious sentiment.
I think this is a negative part of what we're experiencing.
We want peace and security and stability.
There'll be no shooting anymore.
We must come together as Nigerians.
We are brothers and sisters. Nigeria first before your politics.
We're all engaged in trying to keep the country united.
For a nation to develop, conflicts must be minimized.
Peace and stability is extremely important for us.
My hope and prayer is that the Nigerian of our dream will be achieved.
We appreciate you staying with us. Just at the last UNGA as well, we had seen Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, also talk about efforts being made to ensure that his country, Israel, finds peace with the State of Palestine. He alleged at that event that Palestine is driving falsehood in order to convince other countries around the Gulf about how that, just to put Israel or paint Israel in bad lights. Incidentally, both President Mahmoud Abbas and the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, were at that event. But let's hear the side of President Benjamin Netanyahu.
I've long sought to make peace with the Palestinians, but I also believe that we must not give the Palestinians a veto over new peace treaties with Arab states. The Palestinians could greatly benefit from a broader peace. They should be part of that process, but they should not have a veto over the process. And I also believe that making peace with more Arab states would actually increase the prospects of making peace between Israel and the Palestinians. See, the Palestinians are only 2% of the Arab world. As long as they believe that the other 90% will remain in a warlike state with Israel, that larger mass, that larger Arab world could eventually choke, dissolve, and destroy the Jewish state. So when the Palestinians see that most of the Arab world has reconciled itself to the Jewish state, they too will be more likely to abandon the fantasy of destroying Israel and finally embrace a path of genuine peace with it.
Charity has to begin at home. Maybe one of the several things I can take away from that message is that we probably need to ask ourselves, how much are other countries, neighbors, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Egypt, all right, are also trying to help the State of Palestine and Israel find peace? Are we seeing those efforts with Egypt and Jordan and other nations in that region?
Again, because you already presented this video, there is two things I should like to do. Benjamin Netanyahu is known among the Israeli society as the big liar. And this is a fact. This is what they used to talk about our talk.
But we cannot verify that on this program.
This is in their media. I can assure you, it's yours to accept it or not. Because Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned right now in the video that the Palestinian is trying to destroy the Jewish state. This is not the Jewish state. This is Israel. Big difference between Jewish state and Israel. And he mentioned...
Oh, there's a difference between both?
Of course. This is a big difference. So that the issue is he put us in the position that we are intending to destroy Israel, which is not true at all. Just 3 years ago or 4 years ago, also this exact person mentioned that Hajj Amin al-Husseini was met with Hitler to encourage him to execute, and he mentioned that Hitler was not intended to execute and to kill the Jewish at that time. Then, upon the request of Hajj Amin al-Husseini, this is exactly what did he mention. Upon the request of Hajj Amin al-Husseini, Hitler was start killing the Jew at that time and executing the Jew. This is a big lie. All the Israeli is talking about him. He's this problem. So that this is one. Second, what can the Arab do, or what Jordan and Egypt have a peace agreement with Israel, and we at least the peace agreement started by Egypt, then we the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and then follow us King Hussein, the late King Hussein, Jordan at that time, and sign an agreement with. The issue is there intention in Israel to complete this peace agreement? The issue is the Israeli is serious to have a peace agreement? The ABC, what is the end game of the peace agreement between the Palestinian and is the two-state solution? If this is the end game of the two-state solution, why Israel is continue and still and did not stop building settlement in the land that should be or must be the Palestinian state? If this is the case, if they have the intention to have a final agreement with the Palestinian, to accept that the Palestinian to build their state in 22% of their historical land, they should stop settlement expansion. This is the ABC. But Israel, since the signing of the Oslo agreement, did not stop and did not intended to stop for 1 day the building of the settlement.
I want to.
So that there is no in Israel, in the Israeli government, not only this government and the previous government have no intention, have no are not serious to build or to engage in a real peace process with the Palestinians.
I want us to talk about Hamas for a minute. There are people, not Israelis, not Palestinians, international affairs analysts who have said Hamas is also one of the reasons the problem continues to worsen. They say if you remove Hamas from the equation, if you didn't have a Hamas, which on the international scene most times is referred to as the militant group, from Palestine, it will be far easier to resolve this issue. Do you share that sentiment?
Of course not, because Hamas was established only 30 years ago. This problem was 75 years ago. Hamas was established 20 years after the Israeli occupation to the remaining part of Palestine. So Hamas is a new phenomenon. Also, Hamas is part of the Palestinian people, whether they like it or they did not like it, whether they agree on it or did not agree on it. So that, what do you mean by eliminating Hamas from the picture? Do you mean that to execute all of them from the Palestinian people? Hamas is part of the Palestinian people. Hamas is absolutely a part of the Palestinian people, a well-known people. They have their political will also to, and they give a lot of, at least Hamas gives a lot of signs that they can jump to the peace process. But is there a desire in Israel to have a peace process? No, Hamas is part of the Palestinian people. Even Hamas, no one can eliminate Hamas or executed.
No, not eliminate Hamas. Was saying their point is they're saying if Hamas will cease fire, not to eliminate, of course. If Hamas will cease fire and the hostility, it might be easy. That's what they say.
Again, this is how to use the word. Hamas is to cease fire and the hostility, or Israel should cease fire and the hostility. This is the big difference. Hamas is defending itself.
Hamas is not offensive. Is that the point?
Hamas is just created 30 years ago. The occupation is 56 years ago. So Hamas is something as a consequence to the occupation. This is not the root cause of the issue. The root cause of the issue is the occupation itself. We should be very rational.
We need to talk about the West and their interference. But I want to talk specifically about the U.S. But then on Saturday, after the hostilities started, we understand that the U.S. President Joe Biden had responded almost immediately, and they made clear what the stance of the U.S. is as far as the conflict between Israel and Palestine is concerned.
Good afternoon. Today, the people of Israel are under attack, orchestrated by a terrorist organization, Hamas. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere, the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back. We'll make sure that they have the help their citizens need and they can continue to defend themselves. You know, the world's seen appalling images. Thousands of rockets in the space of hours raining down on Israeli cities. I got up this morning and started this at 7:30, 8 o'clock, my calls. Hamas terrorists crossing in Israel, killing not only Israeli soldiers, but Israeli civilians. In the street, in their homes, innocent people murdered, wounded, entire families taken hostage by Hamas. Just days after Israel marked the holiest of days in the Jewish calendar. It's unconscionable. You know, when I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning, I told him the United States stands with the people of Israel in the face of these terrorist assaults. Israel has the right to defend itself and its people. Full stop. There's never justification for terrorist attacks. And my administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering.
And that's President Joe Biden. They're saying on the final notes, his administration quotes support for Israel is rock solid. So where is the State of Palestine getting support from besides Iran, whom we understand is also solidly behind the State of Palestine?
International law.
Okay. Is that enough under the circumstances?
You ask me who's supporting us. We are fully covered by the international law. We are fully covered by the legitimate UN resolution. We are fully covered by the United Nations resolution, the Security Council resolution, the Human Rights Convention, and all of this stuff. Is it enough to be covered and align ourselves with it, regardless of whom is going to support us directly or indirectly? But the United States and President Joe Biden was mentioned a lot of issues in this very short note that he mentioned it last. Israel under attack. Come on. Israel under attack. And what about the Palestinian people since 1948? What about the Palestinian people since 1967? What about the Palestinian people in Gaza Strip, which is fully in the full siege since 17 years ago? What about the Palestinian?
I want us to, on a final note now, as soon as this happened, the UN Security Council quickly called an emergency meeting. This is not the first time they would be calling such a meeting. From the bottom of your heart, quite sincerely, do you think the UN is overwhelmed with the issue around the Gaza Strip and your occupation?
Let me just tell you a very important issue. I am the son of the United Nations. I spent there 8 years in my life. I just came 1 year before. So that I spend a lot of time there. And I can assure you that the Security Council itself is completely paralyzed when it came to the Israeli issue. And this is because the United States of America, the Security Council, which is the body that had the responsibility and should carry the responsibility on its shoulder to put an end to every aggression, to the occupation, to everywhere all around the world, is completely paralyzed because of the United States of America. This is the United Nations.
So in 1 minute, what's the way forward? Because we just saw a video a while ago where people are on the streets in your country. I mean, the State of Palestine, as we know it, and they are showing support. They are showing support for, of course, the State of Palestine. They are showing solidarity. Will all of this be enough? We have heard that the State of Palestine has the right to defend itself, and that is only natural, that is normal, and that is correct. But what more should we do, especially given that Israel has not shifted grounds? The UN doesn't appear to have the wherewithal to resolve this issue. The international community is not unanimous in how they want to support the pursuit of peace for the State of Palestine and for Israel. What can we do going forward? 1 minute.
As an international community, what could we do? Just to make sure the applicability of the international law in equal foot for everyone. Israel is not the state that should continue to be immune and to have to be treated as a state above the international law. This is the principle. If we apply the international law, if we apply the principle of the international law, the Geneva Convention, and all of these legal, internationally agreed instruments, we will be in a safe hand. This is a matter of international law. Just let us agree that, let us sit to the table and say international law should be applied in equal foot for every single one in this world. This will put an end to this brutality to the Israeli community.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Abdallahi Abu Shawesh, the ambassador of the State of Palestine to Nigeria. Thank you for coming to spend a part of your time with us today. This is an unfolding story, incidentally a sad one, but we hope it gets better, and more importantly, that we find lasting peace, definitive solution to this problem, so that Palestine can have its day and have its land back, and then it will be a win-win for everybody. Again, we thank you for your time with us on the show. And that's what we're leaving it, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Uyag Mofwegbe. Our conversation around the situation on the ground in Palestine and, of course, Israel will continue here on Global Television.
We talk about the Civil War, but we seem to ignore the fact that it was the manipulation of ethno-religious sentiment.
I think this is a negative part of what we're experiencing.
We want peace and security and stability.
There'll be no shooting anymore.
We must come together as Nigerians.
We are brothers and sisters. Nigeria first before your politics.
We're all engaged in trying to keep the country united.
For a nation to develop, conflicts must be minimized.
Peace and stability is extremely important for us.
My hope and prayer is that the Nigerian of our dream will be achieved.
We talk about the Civil War, but we seem to ignore the fact that it was the manipulation of ethno-religious sentiment.
I think this is a negative part of what we're experiencing.
We want peace and security and stability.